So good morning, everyone, and John Tice coming to you. It's WebEx Thursday, and I've come up with a topic today. It's just been eating a hole in me all week, and unfortunately it kept me from thinking of anything else, so it has become my topic. And what the topic will be today is simply going to be on, hey, let's be professionals out there. I've been around this business a long time, and all week long I thought, Tice, you get maybe a little old and grumpy, but some things just get under my skin, and this is that week. So what I thought I'd touch base with you today is just, what does it mean to be a professional when we're out in the public? And, the whole idea of being in the public today is a pretty wide open category, because it's not so much I'm showing a home or I have a listing appointment. It's everything we do. And so when you put a lapel pin on, an agent pin, you're out there showing a property. What kind of things should we be looking for to really set you apart and let you look like a professional in the field? Now, years ago, it was always, well, do you have a nice clean car? Did you go to the car wash lately? And if you haven't gone to the car wash as of late, well, the rain's been taking care of you. But, we need to make that first impression. Well, that's not going to be good. So we want to make sure that we're making a great first impression. Today, you have an opportunity to make a first impression in 100 locations, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's just being out in the public, going to the grocery store, getting out of your car, walking up to that appointment. Are you poised and ready to do business? Now, today you caught me in a shirt and tie, and all of you know that that is not what I do on a daily basis. Again, the old rule of thumb, you're going to dress for the appointment that you're going to have. You want to dress appropriately. So obviously, I'm not going out to walk over 30 acres today, although I could. I've done that in a shirt and tie. I did it for years. I have worn a white shirt and a tie since day one in first grade. So I can wear a tie and a shirt and do anything imaginable. But I have certainly lightened that up the last couple of years as I worked as an agent. And I want to welcome everybody that's coming online. I apologize for the late link out there. Did have a little technical issues here, but I'm leaving the lines open, so just if you keep the chatter down in the background, that'd be cool. I would love to have some input on this. But as I was saying, today we need to have our professional foot out there forward all the time. Maybe that requires that you have 2 Facebook accounts, so you can be the crazy party person and you can be the professional person. People are checking you out. Google is following you. When they Google your name, they may find both accounts. So you might need to set up your security settings so people don't see things that you don't want out there. I would argue if you have stuff like that, you don't want it out there in the first place, because it will be found and people may or may not do business with you. But are your profiles in place? Are you putting a good positive foot forward for the stuff that works 24/7? But the one that I'm getting down to today, I've had 2 instances in the last couple of weeks that I've just, really questioned, what are we doing out there some days, guys? Now, I returned to sales 3 years ago after being in a management position for a long time, and so I always got the ugly phone calls. And when they would get to me, it was never pretty. I can't tell you that I got a lot of phone calls saying how fabulous our agents are. People don't do that. But they are quick to call and say about the things that you are doing. So would you want to be featured on Facebook or Twitter this week or LinkedIn for the 2 situations I'm going to cover right now? And the one that really brought this thing to a boil for me, I had a voicemail from a seller of mine on Monday evening, and she said, I need you to call me. I can't get the key back in the lockbox at the house. I need your combination. This is a Lebanon County property, so it's a combination lockbox, which is a style down here. So I call her to find out, why would you have this key Turned out there was a showing on Saturday afternoon of her home. Two things happened. First, the appointment was set, and then it was rescheduled, moved it up. And then the third thing happened. The agent, with his new rescheduled time, arrived almost 40 minutes late. So he gave a range of 2 to 2:30. It arrived after just a few minutes after 3. So to his surprise, the owner is home. And she's trying to figure out, did somebody actually show my house or not? So he shows the house, barely says hello, and never introduced his buyers to the owner, shows the house, and out the door and leaves. So I'm looking for feedback for 2 days, which I never received. But when I get her message, the message is, I need to get this key in the lockbox. So I call her to find out that he had shown the house, unlocked the door, never took the key out of the lock, never returned it to the lockbox. So we have a lady home alone with a key sticking in her front door for over 48 hours. And fortunately, she had a friend visit who came to the front door and said, why is this key in your door? Now, guys, come on our worst day, that's pretty poor. And that's the basis of my concern here today. The liability that we create for ourselves, for the company, for that owner, the risk we put that woman at, and you think she's walking around saying great things about real estate agents today because the simple act of opening and closing a door, returning the key to the lockbox, we missed it. We blew half of that or more. But we put her at tremendous risk. And, fortunately for everybody, it's, a decent location, so the likelihood of somebody finding that. But, the home's for sale. There's a sign out front. There's all kinds of things that lead you to believe it's easy to access. There's pictures online. Somebody might say, I wonder if this person works. Watches them drive off, walk up to the door, and, I'll just unlock the door and let myself in. Or show up in the middle of the night, even worse, and find her home alone. So, guys, we just have to be a little more vigilant as we're going around. This is a real situation. This isn't something I heard about. This just took place on one of my listings. It complements something that happened 2 weeks earlier, where even in an area where we can track the showings, there was a flurry of activity, many showings in one day, and I find out as we're signing the agreements to sell this home from the seller, they said, there's one thing I'd like to discuss with you. And that was, this is a vacant house. We stopped in to check up on it. This is several weeks ago when it was 8 degrees. Yeah, the home was shown, and we went to just look it over. Somebody opened a window and left it open. There were lights on throughout the house. The basement door was unlocked. We don't know for how long, because if the activity took place on Monday, this was Thursday or Friday till they had gone in to check up on this house and found all these things awry. Again, home on the market, pictures, full of stuff, doors unlocked. Anybody could have pulled up because there were vans coming and going as they cleared this house out. And a window open in a home that's heated by oil where they were managing their last couple hundred gallons so they didn't have to go out and spend a fortune to keep the place warm. So a lot of hot buttons, and I got to hear about them all in one breath. And we couldn't even follow up with the agents because there was such a flurry that would never know if I was speaking to the right person or not. But, this is basic stuff. I mean, we're going out, we're showing the house. Do you walk through the house? Do you double check doors and windows? Do you know everybody that you're showing this house to? Do you think it's possible somebody purposely unlocked the door and left so they could come back? We're fortunate for the areas that we work in most days, but there are stories all the time of two people are seeing a house. I'm standing here with the wife, and the other guy ran through the house, and he's opening doors and windows. They come back later and clear it out. So let's be careful out there. What I'd like to do today is compile maybe a couple best practices, because I'm just going to add them right in here to a slide or two, that I'd love to disseminate. Like, what do you see? What do you think are best practices? There's always been some basic ideas of how to handle these showings and to walk through a home, but I mean, leaving a key in a door, leaving windows open at 8 degrees, there's nobody home, man. We're just walking through these houses smiling and walking out the door. So I'd love some interaction here. Maybe I'm way off and getting old and grumpy, like I said. But if that was my house, if that was my wife, if that was my daughter home and there was a key sticking in the door, I'd be coming for you. And we were fortunate in every one of these cases. Is it over? I don't know. But regardless of what it says in that listing contract, that we don't assume a liability for this and that, leave the place unlocked, the key in the door unsecured, all these things, there's no help for you, man. Negligence is going to come back and they're going to bury you in one of these cases. And maybe you didn't even make the sale, so you didn't even have a chance to make any money on it. This is not that hard, but I'm a little concerned when these things occur. Now, I'm not saying it's within our Jack-O company, although it could be. We don't actually know, at least not all cases. So, you know, for me, I'm just curious. Anybody have any thoughts that they want to add to this? I'd love to have a little conversation on this. Maybe a best practice, something that you do that you think is worth sharing to give the world an idea of what we could do better as we go around and show these properties. Anyone have a thought on this one today? Anyone logged in here and tuned in? Come on, guys. I would certainly entertain some thoughts on this one, but you know, at the very minimal, what if we double check the home? So it's not really hard to walk through a house and make sure that the doors, you know, that the doors and windows are closed, that everything is secure, that we've checked the locks. Personally, it's, you know, kind of a ritual for me. I'm never in that much of a hurry that I'm going to walk out of the house. You know, gotten plenty of calls over the year, were you here, because there were no signs. I think that is pretty good. How about if we turn off lights? Yes.
This is Lisa Romer. One of the things that I do, because I'm a little bit scatterbrained, especially as I get older, is that I will, yeah, I know. I put the key right back into the lockbox and close it up, but I also make sure at the same time that I put my key card in my pocket. So if I need to get, you know, if I lock myself out of the house for some reason, or whatever happens, at least I have access to that house at all times. But at the same token, I put that key right back in that lockbox. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that's a good thing to do, or do you see a problem with doing it that way?
No, I think it's a great idea. Now, the only downside, Lisa, could be one of those locks where you need the key, you know, a deadbolt, some of the more, let's call them a fancier lock set that requires a lock to block that door before you go roaming off.
Right.
So, you know, that would be the only one, and it's really easy to, you know,
just pop it back out.
Set everything aside. But yeah, I'd absolutely agree, and I would consider that a great best practice. Unlock the door if you're not going to need it to leave. Put it all back together. Put your key card away, because you know, I understand where the focus is. We're trying to answer questions. We're trying to be helpful, and I totally get that. I've done that for a long time. However, we're dealing with somebody's home and all their possessions, and with key cards and electronic systems, it's very easy for someone to say, well, Lisa, you were the last one logged in. You were the only showing on Tuesday. There's not much you're going to say to come back from that one. In this case, it wasn't that simple, at least in one of the cases. And the guy that left the key in the door is falling all over himself in my conversation with him because, you know, what do you say? Oh, you know, gee, I got startled. Come on. I know many people, and I can see from, you know, some of the folks logged in that you're newer to the business. Let's be careful out there, because this is just sloppy. You know, one of my favorite movies, Dune, there's a line from the movie where the where the one gentleman is coaching the other, and he just says sloppy, damn sloppy. And I can't get over that this week, and I tell you, I can't move on from it, which is why this is my topic today. So we're double-checking, and thanks, Lisa. I didn't have anything else you want to throw in here for us?
Not right now, but I'm sure I will.
Cool. So we're going to return the key to the lockbox immediately, if not needed. Excellent. You know, like I said, there's nothing like double-checking the home. Do a little walkthrough real quickly. It's what I would want you to do if you were showing my home. We're going to turn off the lights. Many owners, we teach them, you know, leave the house. Turn on lights for us so when we get there, we don't have to fumble through. Now, fortunately, we're coming into that time of the year where we have nice daylight. It's going to be a nice day, you know, nice and bright till 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night shortly. So that it's less of a concern. But, you know, let's be considerate. We just had all this news of people and their utility bills. People are very sensitive. And, you know, I always hate those calls at 10 o'clock at night. Hey, you have this home for sale and there's a light on in the basement or in the attic and we're watching the home and you need to get over and deal with it. I mean, that's just, you know, and those things happen and I get it. They just don't have to happen this often. So let's make sure we turn off lights that they've left on as a convenience. They're totally going to appreciate that. We're going to take Lisa's tip and we're going to return that key to the lockbox immediately if we're not going to need it. Because I know you're busy, you're rushing, you got 17 homes to show today, which I'll never understand. But you have 17 homes lined up and you're moving fast with these folks. Let's have a little care. In fact, you're not really, in my opinion, doing about 15 of those, no, maybe 12, 13 of those homes any justice by lining up that many, but that's another topic. So let's be careful out there and get those keys back as early as possible. Does everybody have a leave behind that they leave that I've shown your house? At least a business card. So you can let the owner know that you were there and that it was you.
I just write thank you on the back of my card when I leave it on the countertop.
Yeah, there's a great idea. You know, in preparing for this, I was thinking, what if we made a little card that, hey, thanks. You know, it's basically our business card, maybe on like a postcard-sized card. But your information, thanks for allowing me to show your home, and give them some quick feedback. They think you're a rock star. They think they died because they got feedback immediately following the show. So I'm going to add with feedback. And that's possible. Oh, man, my spelling is terrible today. Actually, it's terrible every day. Never said I was a typist. But maybe you want to add some feedback to that, stand out above the crowd. Here's one that will, you know, you might catch somebody off guard, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they will think you're a rock star. And that's, maybe you're not showing, you know, 27 homes. Maybe you're showing 1 or 2 or 3, or maybe just that one. Did you ever arrive early? Yes. We're going to arrive early and we're going to tour the home. Right. How about if you did it with the owner and just said, Lisa, Dave, you know, thanks for the opportunity to show your home. I'd like to get here a couple minutes early. I'm glad I caught you today. Anything that you might want to point out to me so I don't miss it to share with these people? What were 1 or 2 things that you thoroughly enjoyed about this house? You ever want to score points? The one I've learned, is there a laundry chute? Ladies love laundry chutes. The ones that have them think that that is the coolest thing. The ones that are coming in think it's a cool thing that they don't have to carry all this laundry up and down the stairs. But, you know, it's a hole in the floor, but they go over really well. But wouldn't it be nice to know that there's a secret pantry that they think is great, or that they've always enjoyed, you know, evenings on the deck because of the sunsets, whatever it might be. these folks will just see you as the rock star agent because, like my guy the other day, most of us show up late. We tell you I'm going to be there between 2 and 4. Come on, let's tighten it up. Those times are kind of unacceptable to a lot of owners. And I know it's tough to nail these things down. But again, maybe you shouldn't be showing 17 homes and need that 2-hour leeway. But arrive early, meet the owner if possible, get a quick tour, just have them point out one or two things, or just tell them, I'm going to walk through. Is there anything special you want to point out?
Would you recommend when setting up that appointment that you set up, the appointment a half an hour early just so they know you're going to be there? Or, I mean, I know I came into a house once, I knocked on the door, of course, and all that, and the owner was there, and she was obviously rather surprised, and it felt a little bit awkward when I was there asking her. I asked her a couple of questions about the neighborhood and the house and stuff like that, and it just felt kind of strange because it wasn't my listing, number one, and number two, it was obvious that she was not expecting to actually talk to the person who was going through the house with the buyers.
Yeah, and I think that's normal. I don't know that I would put that much extra time out there, but how about when you set it up, I'm going to be there between 2 and 2:30. I'm only showing one home. If the owner could be there, because at that point we're going to have it nailed down. So I'm going to be there at 2 o'clock. And you can tell the owner that I'll probably be 10 minutes early. And if they're available, I'd love to just say hi and have them point out some special things about the home.
Okay, good idea to give them some preparation.
Yeah, give them a little heads up. But when you do encounter them, they have been trained. We've turned this into this adversarial buyer-seller thing, and I don't think it needs to be that way. And so they don't have to be afraid that they're going to meet the buyer's agent or say something to them, and why not let them off the hook? This is what I do. I show up early because I like to make sure I know everything about the home so I can point out all the special features. I don't know about you, but typically if I'm showing a house, my goal is to make a sale. So I can't say that I'm showing homes to be nice or for something to do. My goal is to sell every house I show. So why not have that mindset that I'm here? It may be on the list that the buyer created that you think is wrong. Well, maybe you should tell them that. But if you're going to show it, then I'd throw everything at it. And guys, here I am. Here's what I do. I walk through the home, and I've discovered these one or two things that I know is really important on your list. You're nuts over laundry chutes. This house has one. Did you want to see that right away? And get a little excited. You get to take people with you. This is called sales. So maybe we need to show a little more enthusiasm that I found that feature in this house, Lisa, that I really know you're looking for. But, learned this one the hard way from an owner almost 30 years ago, whose attitude was, these agents show up, they don't know anything. At that time we didn't have listings on the internet, so they had to wait for the book, and this home was new in the market. They showed up with very little information. And they showed the house that way. She said, I did their job, I should get their commission. Everybody views us this way, so show up prepared. How about if when we meet the owner, if we introduce them?
Well, John, this is Chuck Owens. I have a comment, not necessarily a practice, but we use that word professional awfully loosely because we are professionals because we're professionals. But professionals are responsible, and with responsibility comes accountability. So if we're professionals because we say so, why do we protect those agents that are really screwing up our desire to be professional? I mean, you gave us that example, which is really a mess up. I mean, hey, who is this clown?
Oh, as far as just to broadcast his name and all?
Absolutely, because he's professional because he said he is. He didn't act like it.
Well, and I'm taking this one up with his manager just because I want them to be aware that this guy I think he needs help. But, he's not that unique. And, I'm not out to bash anybody. I'm out to say, hey, here's the situation. We're professionals because we are licensed and the state says we're a professional. And I agree. That brings a liability and an accountability to us, and that's why I'm having this conversation, because this one, these couple things are just poor, but this is not unique. I've just hit two of them in a week or two, and it just got under my skin. But it led me to all these additional points. And I agree that, there's no money in it. So we have ethics, code of ethics that we follow. There are ethics charges out there. They very rarely come up. They are always coupled, or at least the vast majority are coupled to a situation where we're fighting over a commission. So then we throw ethics on there just to give you two black eyes because we want to win something. But, maybe we need to do more to police it ourselves. And I'm trying to get proactive and say, let's just be aware. The other side of it is there are ethics, our code of ethics. There are ethics hearings through the Board of Realtors, and you can be subject to that just for being, doing a poor job and not, I don't know the particular point in the code, but I'm sure that one addresses this, that we need to provide professional service and act professionally. Again, I want us to be proactive. I want us to be the rock stars in the field. We're never going to get this message out and stop all this stuff, but I want the gone people to show up and have the rest of the world say, man, what a difference with the way they promoted themselves, showed my property, held themselves at. I think we have that opportunity, and that's what the list is for. And thanks, Chuck. I totally get it. Like I said, I'm just not sure that I would want to throw everyone's name out there. That is a mess. But even at an ethics hearing, that's going to remain confidential. So, but when we encounter that owner, hey, how about a little respect? There's nothing wrong, and there's nothing scary that they met you, they met the buyer, that they said hello. Let's introduce them, and this is Bill and Connie, and they love this neighborhood. They're very anxious to see your home. Anything you want to tell us before you run off and we go discover the rest of your house? Give them a great chance. It might be the defining moment in why their offer was accepted once we get into the competitive marketplace that many other areas are experiencing. And they say, we met them. They were so nice. They loved my draperies, and, they're going to make some kind of a human emotional connection. Again, why can't we foster that a little bit? That wasn't it. Anyone else have a point that we want to address? Now this is going to work all across the board, whether we're introducing them, meeting them, not meeting them, leaving some kind of feedback. One of my new favorite things, how about if we, what if we check in on Foursquare from the property? Gives us an extra opportunity to let the world know that what we're doing. Gives them an opportunity to know this home's on the market, and maybe we can say something complimentary about the property. Now, you're not going to be taking a picture of the front of the house. That would come down to advertising. But maybe we want to feature one item in the home, or this home was so well prepared for my showing. The world is watching what we're doing. I believe this can lead to future business for you, simply by letting the world know what you're doing and doing something, let's be positive. I certainly wouldn't recommend checking in and saying, what a disaster. The home doesn't measure up to the photographs. That's for another time. But to put a positive spin on what we're doing out there, that there's activity, that there's positive properties, that this could be one of the great buys on the market. If I can help you, just let me know. But leverage more of our activities, and again, let the world know that we're working as professionals, not going out there and bashing, which is the thing we are most often kind of open to do. actually had a thought a second ago, and it has escaped me, which is not unusual anymore. But again, as we're going through our day, you know, what can we do to just kind of raise the bar, raise the professionalism, you know, the scheduling the properties. Let's be respectful of people's time. If it's vacant, it doesn't matter. Well, then I'm just showing up today, or I'm showing up this afternoon. But if it's occupied, maybe we need to narrow it down or shuffle the deck a little bit to be a little accommodating to their schedules. One thing that seems to be occurring, and I think at an alarming rate, we just had a conversation on this yesterday at a meeting I was attending, the number of buyers and sellers that don't attend settlements anymore, simply because it's become so adversarial, and they're squared off over one thing or another. If that's becoming the nature of the business, I'd argue we're doing something wrong. If it's a matter of scheduling, it's one thing, but if it's the people can't be in the room together, I think we're missing something. And, you know, the old win-win negotiation seems to have gone out the door. I still think it's, you know, it has a place, but we're into this win-lose. You know, we got the deal, we got the terms, we got everything, and, you know, someone's walking around with their nose out of joint, they sold their home, and they feel like they've been beaten up. I understand negotiating, I understand winning, but we seem to have moved away a little too far off center to this win-lose mentality. It was written about years ago by Jim Goldsmith for PAR. I think it's worse today than it was then, and I don't know that it has to be that way. And it's one of the things that, again, I've discovered as I've returned to sales, that I think we've, you know, the whole buyer agency and seller agency has really divided our industry a little more than maybe the intention was. So I don't want to know that respectful negotiations is really a term, but it's something that I would aspire to. Let's not everybody can win. But if our negotiations are keeping people from getting into homes because we're breaking down at the inspections and we're all squared off over some minor item, I would recommend we need to step back and take a look at our strategy, and let's get people the home that they want within reason. You can't win them all. You're never going to get everything. So just a couple points that I wanted to cover. And I hope it's helpful to you. I feel better getting it off my chest because it's just not been a pretty couple of weeks. And just remember, I'm bringing them to your attention. What would you do if you were getting these phone calls? And because as you build up a listing inventory and these things are happening, I think they're happening too frequently, and that's my issue. But as we look around, we can see a lot of things, and everybody has developed this tag your if, not my problem, not my job. You know, we're at an interesting time in this industry where there are some threats on the outside, which are websites and other people lining up trying to figure out how to disrupt our business and insert themselves into a transaction with the website and become the facilitator. And at moments like this, when these situations happen, we're helping them. I think we need to take back our business and become, the experts out there, become the professionals in the field where they felt it was worthwhile having us in the transaction and working with us. I'm far from perfect. I screw stuff up every week. I'm just better at rebounding from it than many people because I've done it for so long. I've always been a mess. But we need to be adding value to this transaction. I know we do. I believe it firmly. I believe we've got a role here that we can protect, but let's not be the guys that undermine it by shooting ourselves in the foot just by careless activities. So I'm going to sit here and keep working on my list. I really appreciate everybody that tuned in and putting up with my little rant on my soapbox today. But let's not be the person that we're talking about out there that's running around and You know, I've been in this business a long year. For many years, we've always known different agents and their styles and what we can expect. Be the one with a good reputation that people say, this is great, Chuck's coming to show my house. Dave's out there, schedule an appointment, he's bringing me an offer. That actually carries over into the negotiations part and gives your buyer a leg up because of your credibility. And once we blow that, that's all we've got left, guys. So that's your value in the transaction. Let's build it up. Let's be a little stronger out there and just a little more careful. It's going to pay off in the long run, and that turns into referrals and more business and closed sales and just happier transactions, which is, I hope, what we're all trying to do. So hope to see you all this afternoon. Any final comments from anybody? I hope this is helpful to you.
Very much so. Thanks, John.
My pleasure. Hope to see you all this afternoon at the West Shore Country Club for our little get-together. And let's have some fun, celebrate our 2013 and our year so far, and get on and have a great year. Take care, everybody. And again, thanks again. I'll be back to you Tuesday with WhatsApp, and we'll try something new. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You bet.